The film starts with a captain whose clothes are stained with blood. He arrives at a shop and shows the shopkeeper a broken monkey toy in his hand. The shopkeeper asks him, "What happened to you, and why is this toy broken?" "The drum isn't playing." The captain replies, "Thank God, it's not doing anything." As soon as he says this, the monkey starts playing the drum, and strange things begin to happen in the shop. A rat cuts a rope, causing objects attached to it to move. In the blink of an eye, an arrow shoots out and strikes the shopkeeper, killing him instantly before he even has a chance to scream. This proves that the monkey is cursed. Whenever it plays the drum, someone dies. The captain is well aware of this and is tired of the monkey's deadly game. He decides to burn it, but even as the flames consume it, the monkey laughs in a strange way, as if it still has a plan. Watching this, the captain mutters, "I am leaving a big problem for my children." Years later, in 1999, we see two boys, Helm and Bell, twin brothers and the captain's sons. After their father's death, they live with their mother, who is always busy with work. This makes the brothers spend most of their time together. They are always curious about their father, but their mother never speaks about him. One day, they decide to go through their father's belongings and find a box containing his military uniform. When they open it, they discover the same monkey toy from the beginning of the film. A note on the box reads, "Insert the key into the monkey and see what happens." Bell suggests they try it, and Helm, excited, turns the key. However, nothing seems to change. Assuming the toy is too old and broken, they leave it behind and go outside, unaware of the truth. Later, Helm and Bell prepare to go to the Life Kitchen restaurant with their grandmother. As they get into the car, Helm notices something shocking. The monkey toy is already sitting inside. He can't believe his eyes, as he clearly remembers leaving it in the box. However, he dismisses it and they drive away. At the restaurant, while enjoying their meal, Helm hears a strange sound, the monkey's drum. Confused, he wonders how it's possible since he left the toy in the car. Just as he is processing this, a sharp knife flies through the air, slicing his grandmother's throat. She dies instantly, without a chance to escape. Everyone assumes it was a freak accident, but Helm knows something more sinister is at play. Helm and Bell are deeply disturbed by witnessing their grandmother's sudden death. Their mother takes them to the funeral, explaining that life is unpredictable. No one knows when or how death will come. After returning home, Helm rushes to the monkey toy and confronts it, asking, "Is this all happening because of you?" Before he can get an answer, Bell arrives and starts teasing him. Helm tries to explain the eerie events, the monkey appearing in the car and the drum sound before their grandmother's death, but Bell only mocks him. The next day, Bell spreads the story around school, making Helm the subject of ridicule. Frustrated and angry at his brother, Helm storms home, turns the key on the monkey, and angrily commands, "Kill my brother." In his rage, Helm doesn't realize the consequences of his actions. As soon as he winds the key, their mother, who is cooking in the kitchen, suddenly begins bleeding from her eyes, ears, and nose before collapsing and dying. The doctors attribute her death to a brain hemorrhage, but Helm knows the truth, it was his fault. Overcome with grief and guilt, he smashes the monkey with a hammer, but the next morning, he wakes up to find it intact, sitting in the same place. Meanwhile, Bell is in shock, unable to process their mother's death. He refuses to change out of his funeral clothes for 3 days. Eventually, their uncle arrives to take them in, as they have no other guardian. Helm is overwhelmed with regret and decides to confess everything to Bell. After much hesitation, he finally reveals that their mother's death was caused by the monkey's drum, and his own mistake. He explains how winding the key always leads to someone's death. Bell refuses to believe him and challenges him to prove it. To demonstrate, Helm winds the monkey's key again, unaware that this action will claim another life. At that moment, their uncle is riding a horse. Suddenly, he falls off, and a stampede of horses tramples him to death. This horrifying incident is enough to convince Bell of the monkey's deadly nature. Realizing they must get rid of it, the brothers put the monkey toy back in its box and bury it deep in the ground, hoping it will never cause harm again. After doing this, all the devastation from the monkey toy ends. Then, 25 years pass in the story. We see Helm after 25 years, now working as a storekeeper. He had ended all relations with his brother because he feared that if he met him, the monkey would return, and the devastation would start again. Now, Helm asks for leave from his manager because he has to meet his son, Pete, who lives with his ex-wife. After arriving, he receives shocking news. his ex-wife and her husband are taking legal custody of Pete. This means Helm would no longer be able to spend time with his son. These were the last 2 days he had with him, and he wanted to make the most of them. To create lasting memories, Helm takes Pete on a road trip, and at night, they stay at a motel. There, Pete asks him about his family. "Do you have a brother?" At that moment, Helm remembers Bell but lies to his son, saying, "No, I don't have a brother. I live alone." Next, we see the woman with whom Helm and Bell lived after their parents' death. Her husband had died after giving a key to Helm's monkey. She now lives alone, and on this particular day, she hears a strange, eerie noise in her house. Feeling that someone has entered, she grabs her gun and steps out. She senses someone in the basement. As she descends the stairs, she hears the sound of a drum. Suddenly, the stairs beneath her break, and she crashes through the glass floor below, sustaining severe injuries. Sharp shards of glass and wood pierce her face. When she approaches a mirror to look at her injuries, she smells a gas leak. Rushing to the kitchen, she tries to investigate near the stove, but suddenly, a spark ignites. The explosion sets her face on fire. Screaming in agony, she runs outside, disoriented, and stumbles toward a billboard. As she reaches it, a sharp edge pierces her head, killing her instantly. At the same time, Helm experiences a nightmare in his motel room. In his dream, he sees his mother in a terrifying form, along with the monkey. Startled, he wakes up in fear and notices Bell calling him. After all these years, he hesitantly answers, only to receive bad news. The monkey has returned and has begun spreading devastation again. The situation is dire, and they must find a way to stop it. However, this leads to an argument between them about who will take responsibility for ending it. As Helm steps outside while talking, he notices sparks coming from a nearby air conditioner. Moments later, it falls, snapping a wire that drops into the motel pool. The water becomes electrified, and when a girl jumps in, she dies instantly from electrocution. Witnessing this, Helm is terrified, realizing the monkey is more dangerous than before. Now, even mentioning its name seems to trigger destruction. Helm decides to leave Pete at his house to keep him safe. However, Pete insists on visiting Helm's old home, where he once lived with his aunt, his last wish before leaving. Helm, feeling he should grant this wish, takes him there. Upon arrival, they find that his aunt's belongings are being auctioned off after her death. Among them is the cursed monkey toy, which a boy purchases. On the way, Helm is lost in memories of his past, how he yearned for his father but was kept away by his mother until his father's death. While deep in thought, an agent wakes him up with shocking news. The town he is in has been experiencing a series of bizarre and fatal accidents. Hearing this, Helm is horrified, realizing the monkey toy is in the town. Meanwhile, Pete discovers that Helm has a brother named Bell. Regardless, Helm's priority remains finding the monkey toy. He visits the storeroom where unsold auction items are kept, knowing his aunt's belongings would be there. When he asks if a monkey toy was in the auction, the agent struggles to recall but opens the storeroom for Helm to check. As the agent opens a cabinet, a shotgun accidentally discharges, fatally shooting her. As soon as she dies, the eerie sound of the monkey's drums echoes throughout the storeroom. Helm realizes that Bell is already in town but refuses to meet him. He angrily calls and even threatens Bell, but when Bell ignores him, Helm begins tracing his location. Bell, however, has sinister intentions. The biggest twist is that the monkey toy Helm desperately seeks is actually in Bell's possession. Bell has kept it like a treasured companion, setting up traps all around his house, knowing Helm would eventually come for it. He harbors deep resentment, believing Helm is responsible for their fathers, mothers, and uncles' deaths. Blaming Helm for his loneliness, Bell seeks revenge. A flashback reveals that after Helm and Bell initially buried the monkey toy, Bell later returned to retrieve it but found only its key. Since then, he has been searching for the toy. Finally, he found it in their aunt's house and secretly bought it through another girl. Now, the boy who originally sold the monkey toy to Bell wants it back. When he sees Helm and Pete at the aunt's house, he holds them at gunpoint and takes them to Bell's house. Threatening them, he orders Pete to go inside and retrieve the toy. Helm warns Pete not to wind the monkey's key under any circumstances, as it would unleash destruction. Pete manages to navigate Bell's traps and reaches him. Bell hands him the monkey toy, but unaware of its dark history, Pete is easily manipulated into turning its key. The moment he does, the gun of the man holding Helm goes off. Fortunately, the bullet misses Helm but shatters a beehive outside. The swarm of bees attacks the gunman, stinging him to death. Realizing what has happened, Helm rushes into Belle's house to stop the chaos, but as he enters, he triggers one of Belle's traps, getting caught. Seeing this, Belle approaches him, and a fierce fight breaks out. Amid their struggle, they somehow come to a realization. They both apologize to each other. But it is too late. Despite their reconciliation, the monkey has already begun playing its drum, signaling unstoppable destruction. As the roof starts shaking violently, one of Belle's own traps falls on him, killing him. Meanwhile, chaos erupts across the town, fires break out, planes crash, and destruction engulfs the entire area. Helm and Pete barely escape the house and flee the town. They decide to keep the monkey toy with them, hoping to prevent future disasters. As they leave, they witness a lone horseman in the town, a harbinger of death, symbolizing the town's annihilation. With this haunting image, the story ends.